All right, so I'm here with my dad, and we're at the what he likes to call the inland sea. Behind us is Lake Erie, and this is the Arcadia Beach Club.
Right.
And you've been living here. You've been
probably 45 years, something like that.
45 years. You moved here. What year? Do you remember?
Probably 65.
65.
Yeah, so that would be 35 and 9, about 44 years.
Lyndon B. Johnson was in the White House.
Who?
Lyndon B. Johnson.
Whoever.
And that was, the Vietnam War was going on.
Yeah.
How many kids did you have when you moved in here?
Oh, probably around 6.
6. So that would have meant you had Carol, John, Kathy, Mary, Bob, and myself. Right?
Okay.
I bet it must have been exciting when you moved down here.
Oh, it was great.
6 kids and moving down to the beach?
Yeah, I loved it. It was great. Really.
What are some of your memories of raising the children here on the beach club?
Well, we used to go down to the beach probably after dinner each evening.
Yeah.
And the kids enjoyed the swing and everything, you know.
Did you bring the kids down and swim in the lake back then?
Yeah, I sure did.
The lake was a lot cleaner back then, huh?
It was nice, very nice.
So you grew up where? You grew up in Cleveland.
I grew up in Cleveland on the west side of Cleveland, very close to West Tech.
What street?
Elton, E-L-T-O-N, Elton Avenue.
And your address on Elton was what?
7907.
7907. And you had 5 brothers. You had Steve.
No,
I'm sorry.
2 brothers.
2 brothers.
Andy and Steve.
Andy and
3
Steve.
sisters.
Olga, Marge, and Helen.
Right.
And where did you fit in that group?
Steve was the first one, and then I was the second one. Andy was the third one. So probably the mother and dad figured they would just have boys and no girls. But then the next 3 were girls.
And your father, you know, I know a lot about your father. Your father, his name was Steve.
Right.
And in Hungarian that was István.
Huh?
István.
Okay.
Now you know your father's story. Your father was in the World War.
Yes.
World
War I.
And he fought with the Hungarians and the Austrians against the Soviets.
Right. And then he was a prisoner of war.
And sent to Siberia.
For about 7 years, I think, and then one day he shows up in Cleveland.
Right.
They gave him up for dead.
As I understand the story, and I have his papers, your father enlisted in the army, and he was assigned to the Ukrainian front. And after only 3 days on the front line, he was captured and sent to Siberia.
I don't know how many days, but you're probably right.
Yeah, his paperwork says he served 3 days, and then he was captured by the Soviets.
Wow.
And your sister told me he spent 3 years in the prison camp, and he escaped, and he
just walked away one day.
He walked away one day, and because they were in Siberia, and they figured that you're in the middle of Siberia, you walk away, what's going to happen to you, you know?
Right.
But he made it, and he came back and he married your mom.
Right.
Did your dad and mom speak Hungarian when you were growing up?
Yeah.
They did. But they didn't teach you Hungarian, did they?
Oh, I don't know if they taught us. Maybe we picked it up when we were kids.
You did? As I recall, I met a gentleman in Budapest who told me that the immigrants to this country didn't necessarily want their children to speak their native tongue. They wanted them to learn English, so that they could adapt to the culture a little bit better.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, so you grew up. That's your growing up. Your dad, what did he do for a living?
What did he do?
Right.
He did maintenance work in these buildings downtown, like the Hanna Building, and he washed windows. He was more a window washer than anything.
Now, when you say he's a window washer, in fairness, I mean, when you say he's a window washer, that doesn't really sound very glamorous, but one of your sisters told me that your father had a certain charisma, and your sister told me that your father could do just about anything. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Was he a strict man?
Strict?
Strict. Was he strict
No,
with the kids?
I don't think so.
How about your mom? Was she a good cook?
Yeah, she was a good cook.
Good cook. You made a lot of Hungarian dishes?
Right.
Goulash and lecho and all
Right.
those different
And
dishes?
those pancakes we liked quite a bit. Those potato pancakes.
Potato pancakes.
Oh, they were terrific.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll be darned. I haven't had a, was that Hungarian?
Yes. You'll have to try that sometime. They're called potato pancakes.
Potato pancakes. Okay,
Boy,
well,
are they good.
I'll have to, next time I come, next time I come to town, I'll have to make some.
Well, you don't have to do it here. You can do it at your place.
So, okay, so you finished, when you grew up, you joined the Army, right?
When I grew up,
When you got older, when you finished high school, you joined the Army.
I got out of high school in '46. The war was over in '45. So right after high school, a couple of weeks, a bunch of us joined the service for 18 months. So I spent a year in occupation duty in Japan.
Now you say a bunch of you joined.
From our
neighborhood?
fraternity.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
from our school fraternity.
And were you stationed with any of these gentlemen over in Japan?
No, because I was with the 11th Airborne,
Uh-huh.
and the other guys were in different outfits.
Do you remember the first time you jumped out of a plane?
Yeah, it was in Japan.
Oh, it was. You
Yeah,
didn't-
because I went over unassigned because the airborne school had started when I got out of infantry basic. So I went overseas unassigned, and as soon as I got into Yokohama, the 11th Airborne was there. They met the victory ship and they asked people if they wanted to volunteer. So I volunteered for the 11th Airborne. I had 2 weeks school, jump school, up in, we jumped in Sendai, but my base was actually Sapporo, which is the northern island.
Were you afraid the first time you jumped?
Oh, sure, but
Did they have to push you out?
No, but they had 2 chutes. You had a reserve and a main pack, and we'd go out in a stick of 10.